Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another edition of Adventures in Careerland. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Adriano Magnifico, career facilitator in the Louis Riel School Division, and we're broadcasting in the Louis Riel Arts and Technology Center Broadcast Media Program Studio. That's a big thing to say. It's one of the 13 programs in the Arts and Technology Center. They include things like childcare, automotive, plumbing, new media design. But this one is the gem. For me, this one is the gem. These students learn how to be broadcast and media experts, and they get hired very quickly when they leave this program. So kudos to them, and kudos to the teammates with whom I work. And they are here today. Andre Boisjoli, who's working the 1969 Star Trek bridge board.
Specifically 1969.
1969, because that's when it was a real show.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
So the lights are all giggling and blinking and turning on and off. It's a beautiful thing. Andre, how are you, sir?
Good. I'm doing good. Thanks for that great introduction of us. You really hyped our program.
Well, I don't care what anybody says. You're great kids, really.
Yeah. No, but it is a really great program. I mean, since I've been here since February, I really liked it. Made new friends. I learned a lot. Had lots of good experiences, and I hope throughout this program I get to learn more because it's really fun. And I really like doing this podcast with you and CJ. And yeah, it's fun.
And our other podcast producer / host is CJ, they, them, who has had an interesting day today, haven't you? What did you do today?
I was sent to Glenlawn Collegiate to start filming Spirit Week, and I'm going to be there all week long.
Well, you get what that thing's about because you're in Glenlawn. You've heard the rumors of all that, the Spirit Week at Glenlawn.
I actually
right?
have never participated, though.
Really?
I was always the quiet one in the library. So
well,
this
and
is a big change.
it's pretty high end, though, isn't it? Like,
oh, yeah.
The work they do to put on, we used to call it the old gym riot.
Yeah.
But they have Spirit Week, and they call it something else because riot is a word that I guess
has a negative impact.
Awful connotations, right?
These days, yeah.
Although I still like it.
When you think of a riot, you think of people like going to the White House.
Yeah.
You're thinking of an insurrection. So
that's a big word.
It's a pretty big word. That's what the January 6th insurrection at the White House. That's what you're thinking about. Anyway, what happened with the Spirit Week today? What did they do that was interesting, that caught your eye?
They had competitions. Like some of them, it's weird because we have to know like what they're doing in order where to have the camera, but all they had was like soccer and basketball and it's stuff like that on the paper. But their soccer that they had, it was a basket on the ground, and then there was a second basket on a table, and then a third basket on a higher table. And their version of soccer was the students took the soccer ball and bounced it on each other's like body without having it touch the ground with like their legs or their head or whatever, tried to get it into the basket. And it was like level 1 and level 2 and level 3. So when we tried asking the teachers what we were going to film, they didn't tell us anything. So
they don't know.
That's
some
time, right? Improvisational soccer right there.
Yeah.
Well, and that's hybrid soccer, right? And that's the purpose of those gym riots. You modify the soccer so that Limbo
got everyone screaming.
I know. You modify all the events so that lots of folks can participate in this, right?
Yeah.
And that's the fun of it, right? The average student can come in there and play and participate. It's more inclusive, I think, isn't it? Did you feel like it was an inclusive activity?
I think so, yeah, because it was very fast paced though. Like it was as soon as someone won, they got the next teams in right away. Like they didn't even really let them celebrate or anything, which I found pretty funny because
you got to get to class.
The teacher said like, "Oh yeah, get some shots of the audience or whoever wins and them celebrating."
Hey, but the physics teacher is continuing the class. You got to come in and out of there. You got to run.
They get a break for Spirit Week. You get to skip classes.
Really?
See,
yeah.
This is
that's something.
This is a beautiful thing. I went to the wrong school.
Yeah, go to Glenlawn.
Go to Glenlawn. If you want to skip class, go to Glenlawn. It's a beautiful place.
Only for a week though.
Anyway, I did something really interesting. I'm telling you, I went to a small school, École Guillot. Have I pronounced that correctly, sir?
You have, yeah.
All right. Nobody
Our
knows who
French
Guillot is.
expert.
I asked all of the students who Guillot was and where he came from. Nobody knew. So that's continuing. I'm going to continue my journey and discover this.
Google it.
But we did some workshops. Google it. We did some workshops on career development for grade 8s. And I'm telling you, using myblueprint.ca. And what we discovered is, I did in a small survey afterwards, is they're all ready to do this. They're all ready to start thinking. And my attitude about career development is you never have to have it pinned down. You just have to be, I always tell about, it's that elusive search for truth. Like from the old Dan Fogelberg song. You heard of Dan Fogelberg before?
Nope.
No.
Good old folk singer. You guys, and our guest is looking at me like I have 3 heads too.
I doubt he knows it.
Okay, Shakespeare. To thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day.
You make
Thou
a lot of
canst not then
references
be
that
false
we
to
never
any
get.
man. Yeah, these people don't read Shakespeare. They don't listen to old farts like Dan Fogelberg. But Fogelberg had this great line in one of his songs at the end called Diamonds to Dust, when he said, the truth never parts easily. Or no, time never parts easily with the truth it reveals. And it takes time, and you have to be prepared for the time to play out and be on the road to that personal discovery and be open to it. Time will bring you there. Just be open to it, and it'll go faster potentially. You're not open to it, it'll take a long time, and it'll hit you at some point. Hopefully it's not on your deathbed, but that's where these students said a lot of fascinating things about just being open. I want to start thinking now. It's grade 8. What were you guys thinking in grade 8?
What high school's going to be like?
Yeah, but that's what they
know.
were thinking too, even in the courses, right? What courses do I choose? But they're thinking more about what the effect will be down the road. Am I making the right calls? And that's
Yeah.
a lot of anxiety for grade 8s. So
I think it's better to this is probably the wrong way to say it, but to start young in a way.
Yes. So no, I think this is a great thing to think about, and it alleviates some of the stress they feel if you talk about it. And
Mhm.
if you show them some of the tools that can help them explore and discover and just seek some of that truth, because it's waiting there for you. But if you don't do this, the soulful self-reflection, it's going to take a lot longer. And people do it later on in life. And they think about a lot of the time, I wish I had started. How many times I've heard, I wish I had done this sooner in my life.
Yeah.
If I hear that line again. So it's okay to do it in grade 8. I think it's okay to do it even in grade 5 and 6, not to pigeonhole a career, but to think about, who am I? What's important to me? What skills do I have? What skills do I want to acquire? What am I gravitating toward? What's kind of neat out there that I'd like to try out? Where can I step outside of my boundaries with support? I think those things are important. And I got in the exit surveys a really powerful commentary about how important this stuff is to do. So it was really good to see. So I'm going to start targeting more grade 7 and 8 classrooms and help them start expressing themselves in ways that help them find their best selves as they continue down the road.
Yeah.
There's lots of transitions,
Yeah,
right?
that's great. Yeah.
Anyway, I pontificate. We have a guest today who's really, we're very fortunate to have this guest. And I think the show is going to be just doozy / crackerjacker show. Okay.
All your catchphrases.
all
in one.
my cheap catchphrases, because I met this gentleman at a junior achievement event where he was speaking about his business, which was GeoFilter, and he's since progressed on to other businesses and other ventures that are frankly quite astounding, and they speak to the kind of person this gentleman is. I'd like to introduce you to Chris Schmidt, the CEO of Pluto Ventures. Hello, Chris.
Hi there. Thanks for having me. Yes, that was 5 years ago almost that we met.
That's where I met you. And
Yeah.
I came up to you at the end. I thought, oh my gosh, this young man's got something on the ball here. I've got to talk to him and bring him out to other things I'm doing. Because I think it was Marie Hacot, now formerly of Junior Achievement, but now of Tech Manitoba, who brought you on board. And she's quite astute. And the fact that she found you is awesome. Awesome for me. Awesome for anyone else that connected with you that night and continues to connect with you. But Chris, your story is kind of amazing, because when you spoke to the students, you spoke to them as a young person still kind of in formation, figuring it out and working the GeoFilter. So tell us a little bit about being in those pews at St. Paul's, which really fits, Because St. Paul's is a great school. It's a private school in Winnipeg. And working your way through there, what kind of courses you were taking? What were you gravitating towards in St. Paul's? What were the things that were interesting you back then?
Yeah, so that's it's really interesting. When I went through high school, I tried to do everything. And I think that really hits on the comments that you're making, where you want to I believe the point of high school is you're trying to find out, one, what you're good at, and then second thing, what do you enjoy doing? And those two things don't always line up. And the only way to find out those two things is if you try a whole bunch of different things. And, you know, I'm not one of these business guys that can look back on high school and say, you know, school's stupid and, you know, it doesn't matter. Because I was a really good student. In some cases, you could definitely say maybe I was a teacher's pet. I was a really good student and I tried to get good marks.
I'm a teacher. I love those kids.
I'm the one at
I think
recess,
you're biased.
you know, cleaning out computers and helping out. And so my experience in high school and elementary and junior high was very good. So I can't look back and say, you know, it was a waste of time. But what's sort of interesting with St. Paul's High School is they have they really encourage, obviously the academic is important, but they really encourage extracurricular activities. And they have this interesting point system. And through 9, 10, 11, 12, every time you're part of a sports team or choir or chess or all these different clubs, you get points. And in grade 12, if you have a certain amount of points, you get this additional thing at graduation. It's kind of just like a token. But that's really St. Paul's way of trying to say, hey guys, school's important, but we encourage you to do more than school. And sort of a little thing that I can brag about is I have the most points out of any student ever at St. Paul's High School.
Really?
Wow.
To the point of like, when you graduated, you needed, I think it was 40 points to get this special token.
What's the special token? I need to know.
It's
Would you say it's similar to kind of academic excellence?
No. This is extracurricular
this
stuff,
is
right?
extracurricular.
Still,
this is,
though.
this is all the club. No, extracurricular is a whole different world there.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a side thing because I know some students who have been there and have done things and they're desperately looking for things to do there.
Yes.
Right? Like
Yeah.
I know kids who don't wrestle join the wrestling team. That seems to be the fallback.
Yes.
Kid, we're putting you on the wrestling team. All right.
Yeah, they're like if you're part of like a varsity team, you maybe get 2 or 3 points. If you're part of like debate club, you get maybe 1 or 2 points. So the prize is, so the letter P is, I guess, the symbol of the school.
Yeah.
And, you get this. It's about
Your letter.
You get a letter, and it's
Yeah.
like this really like it's almost like a carpety feel.
What?
Letter
That's
P.
old school. Like,
That's it.
we used to do that in all the schools. At Nelson back in the 30s when I went to school, I got my N. You used
Just
to do
like
that.
that.
You got your N
Yes.
when you were a sports person usually.
Is it like something you could hang up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've still got the N at home. It's a big fluffy N.
Huh.
And St. Paul's is a
Yes.
traditional style school. There's a lot of pieces they continue to advocate and use. Like they don't throw things out and change. Like they move and progress, but there's certain things they like their tradition.
With how
Yeah.
you're explaining this, it just sounds like you get a piece of carpet.
You get a piece.
Pretty much.
No, but it's an N. It's like getting a trophy, but it's for activities.
Yeah.
It's for things you do. So I got one at Nelson Mac.
Yeah.
And when you get one, it's a great honor.
Yeah.
And before me, my brothers used to get Letterman sweaters and things. Do you remember that? You don't even know what I'm talking about, you guys. But it would be a sweater with the big letter on it. Like you'd have these things on. These are like the 60s when my brother went to school because I remember him wearing some of these things.
Can't you just buy those?
You can.
I guess you could at Le Garage or something. I don't know. Where do you buy things like that?
Walmart.
Where's the latest place you buy things? Just online?
Walmart.
Walmart. Oh my
Walmart's
god.
a great place.
Oh come on.
Walmart.
We were
Do you-
even us.
Do
Even
you know
we
what
were-
Etsy is?
Yes.
Okay. I shop on Etsy a lot of the time.
Okay. All right.
I don't
all
know,
right.
I-
Anyway,
I
that's pretty
kinda-
cool. So you got your letter,
Yes.
and it's funny what you're saying because I started a program here called the Riel School Division Skills Credential,
Mhm.
and the point is, the theme of it is, collect your dots, so that you can connect them.
Mhm.
And so when you connect your dots, you can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to have enough. So it's interesting, Chris, you were the busiest person in the school, choosing all these extracurriculars. Were there some you chose that were just out of your wheelhouse, but you wanted just to try?
No.
Really?
Like things are a little awkward for you to do, stepping out of your comfort zone?
So my spectrum is quite broad, from sports teams and then all the way to like stage crew, and it was quite a broad set. But I never touched debate. I would be terrible at debate. I never
That's
touched
my favorite.
Bands?
band.
Oh,
No way.
Really?
So I stayed out of those ones.
But and other kids were all over those things,
Oh,
right?
they
Like you
loved
have
it.
world champion, like Ravenscourt
Oh.
and St. Paul's and St. Mary's, world champion debating
Yep.
kids.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I
Man.
could, when I was at Nelson Mac, we were trying to get a debating program going, and there's still remnants of it with Mr. Sabrin down there.
What are you even doing that? Just yell at each other?
No.
No.
You learn how to
Debate.
debate and persuade and research and formulate an argument with structure. And
Okay.
you see people getting mad sometimes, but you got to follow the structure, right?
Yeah.
And debating is the most powerful thing that schools could go back to build people's sense of confidence. There's nothing more powerful. It's funny you didn't like to debate, but you had to do it, right?
I'm a terrible liar, and I can't persuade you in a poor way.
Good to know. Write that down. Write that down.
So even if I was given an argument and I had to debate the other side of it that I was against, I wouldn't be able to. I would just.
And
That's
that
understandable.
and that was part of the exercise, though, right?
It is.
You didn't always get your niche argument or niche
Yeah.
value argument you wanted to persuade or debate about. That's kind of cool. So you moved out of that space, and your whole family, though, you took all the sciences. We talked yesterday. You took all the sciences. You have a family that's a medical family. The whole gang, doctors, and some of them surgeons and stuff. Talk about your family and just the influence of your family a bit.
Yeah, so I have 2 brothers, and then my parents. Both my brothers, they're both physicians now, and my dad's a physician. And my mom has been a stay-at-home mom for the last 30-something years when my oldest brother was born. But she was an architect before that. And I think the word ambitious would be a good word to describe all of us. And working really, really, really hard. When I look back at photos of when I was 2, 3, 4 years old, I'm out there raking the lawn.
At 3?
Oh yeah, you should. And there's photo evidence. There's video evidence of me pulling sod and soil through the yard.
Were you crying?
I was joyful. It looked like
It looked like. We
like it.
don't truly know.
No, but that's amazing. So your family was out. You doing it with your family, or were they having a mint julep inside? Where let's send Chris out to do the lawn again.
No, it was a family effort. If my dad was cutting the lawn, he was cutting the lawn with the real lawnmower, and myself and my brothers would be kind of cutting the lawn with our plastic lawnmowers.
Yes.
I'm just imagining, like, in the winter, like you had your little shovel helping or something.
I was in, like, there's photos of me in like red jumpsuits when I was 2 years old shoveling the snow.
Oh my goodness.
You know what? That's an amazing set. So that builds something in you. That's an amazing set of experiences, though, because that builds something in you just about, like, first and foremost, family.
Yes.
Family does stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we're
Teamwork.
doing. And I guess there's a team thing there, but just this sense of family. You pretty close to your family?
Yeah. Yeah. We're,
You don't argue with your brothers at that?
no, we don't. We're close. I wouldn't say that we're the type of family that, very like emotional, like giving hugs and saying I love you. Like, we're not sort of that as a family. We're more of our actions kind of show.
You demonstrate it.
Yeah, we
all the
demonstrate
time.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than like actually physically or like verbally. It's more actions
It's
and doing
action-based.
things for each other.
Well, that's
Yeah.
fascinating because I remember when I was a child, you're out in the front lawn shoveling or the sidewalk or doing whatever chores. I was stomping grapes
Stomping grapes
in giant bins, metal
Don't
bins.
you do that for wine?
Yeah, I was
for
gonna say,
vino.
yeah,
Yeah.
wine.
We used to make wine, and I was in there in the big boots stomping. I must have been 3 or 4 years old.
That honestly sounds fun.
It was an amazing thing to do because you turn purple.
That's a
And-
great thing for a kid to do.
And you get to eat grapes because the grapes all coming from California. And you just build this sense of family to this day. Like, my mom and dad have passed on, but those experiences are unforgettable, right? And
Cherish them.
Well, and when I see a picture of my brother and I and me in those bins, we laugh. We just remember, right? It's amazing,
Mhm.
that was cool stuff. So you're starting with that. You're tight with your family, you're doing this, but you have this little, they're all doctors. You've taken the sciences, you're on the path, and you should be a doctor.
Yes, I should. And being not a doctor is the best decision I've ever made. So,
so how does that work out?
Yeah. Does your family back you up on that? Or?
Yeah, incredibly supportive. So yeah, I went through University of Manitoba. I went through the science program on my way to become a physician, and I did the MCAT, and I was ready to go into medicine. And I really do enjoy like physics and bio and chemistry. I do like the sciences. But there was sort of a part which in the moment wasn't obvious to me, but definitely when I look back, it's really obvious. But I always say when I wasn't studying biochemical pathways and I was relaxing, I was building companies for fun. And so on a Saturday night when it was time for me to like relax, I was actually working because that's what I really, really enjoyed. And so my dad really just kind of opened up my eyes. And this is like a really good example of like when you're in it, you don't fully see the picture. But he sort of just said to me, you know, what would happen if you spent all of your time on business and not just a few hours on a Saturday night when you're relaxing? And that kind of kicked me in my butt.
Okay,
where I'm
when
like,
you say you're working on business, like what are you doing? Are you playing? Are you really in a small startup?
Yeah, so this was at the time when I had my tree care and lawn business.
Of course.
And so when I was done studying at 6 or 7 p.m. on a Saturday night, I would then go out and I'd go get customers. I'd walk up and down the street, knocking on houses, getting more customers. Or I was working on my website to optimize the order form flow to increase efficiency so it's easier to onboard customers. That's what I was doing when I was 15 or 16.
So 15 or 16, you're in St. Paul's, you're doing a full slate, you're in every activity, and then you start banding trees in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
For fun.
For fun.
For fun. And you're getting paid for this.
Yes.
So that's an odd thing. So are your buddies looking at you going, why don't we go out, play baseball or do something? No, I've got to go band trees tonight. Another Saturday night for Chris.
Probably like, I think he lost it a little.
So my friend group, they've put up with me where there were times when Saturday night, I would call up my group and there's photos of them at my house because I've called them all over because we have to do some like data entry or something and like transfer data between two databases. So there are photos of my friend group Saturday night in my house. They're all on their computers transferring data between two databases.
So you got them to work for you.
Division of labor is just an amazing concept.
And were they banding with you? Were they outside banding with you?
No, at this time
it was just you, the bander.
I was the bander, but I had a lot of them doing lawn cutting
like a
or as they called you, the bandit.
The bandit. But I would pay them with pizza, and I'd pay them cash, and I would compensate for their time because it was a business. It's But my friends, they put up with me. They understand that's me.
So you learned all that stuff so young.
Yes, and it was. I really just enjoyed it. When you're 15 or 16, you don't understand what business is. You don't understand really what money is and what it can do. And you don't understand what $1 million or $10 million is. You just gravitate towards things you enjoy. And I just happen to enjoy building businesses, which happens to translate into my job now. So it worked out.
Yeah.
And that's when I go back to that. My first two questions or comments about high school is if you find something you enjoy and something you're really good at, then you're fortunate. And that's where I'm at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. So you finish this, you're doing the banding, you go to school, you're going to write the MCAT. There's a point where you have to make a call though, right? So what was this moment? Where's the cataclysmic moment here where you saying, okay, this is the path. This is where I'm going?
June 2015. That's when I had that conversation with my dad. He sort of said, hey, what happens if you spend all your time doing business? And I think over the previous, 12 years, really, from that point, he had seen kind of where my passion was.
Was he disappointed then? Because you weren't following...
No.
You're familiar with the show Blue Bloods, right?
Yes.
They're all cops, right? They're all cops.
Yep.
I love it. Tom Selleck's in this, and Will Estes and Len Carreyrou, Winnipegger, right? Len Carreyrou is the old grandpa in this one. But they're all cops. So anyone born into this family is going to be a cop or a lawyer who works with cops, right? So
I think it's one of those things when you're a parent and you see your kid enjoying something so much, you don't really care in a way.
well, but there's other influences. I can see like everyone in this show, I like watching this show, they all become cops for a reason, right? There's a culture there, there's an environment, you're nurturing that spirit and that sense of culture around police work and lawyering work and stuff like that. So there was no red bloods for you guys? I use red because that's the color of blood, right? Red bloods for the medical profession?
Yeah, no, quite the opposite. So I'm fortunate that my parents, I mean, they will support whatever path we pick, to almost the point of they almost recommended to not go into medicine just because our dad,
that's awesome.
They wanted us to almost, they were very blunt where just because your dad's a doctor doesn't mean you have to be a doctor. It's just coincidental that all three sons really enjoyed sciences and wanted to become a physician. So there was actually almost that pressure to just not do it because your dad's doing it. And so when I made that decision to not pursue medicine and to try my own business, incredibly supportive. And I think at the end of the day, they just want the three of us, myself, my two brothers, just doing what we enjoy. And clearly medicine would have been fine. I would have been fine at it. I would have done okay. But I definitely wouldn't have been probably as happy as I am now, which is like every day I'm overly thrilled to go to work.
So you love jumping out of bed every morning.
Sometimes I debate if I should even sleep because I want to keep working.
What time do you wake up?
I'm like 8:39, but I'm up till 2.
I was imagining you get up at like 4 in the morning or something.
I'm not one of those people. I can't do it. I'm a night owl.
So we met over the geofilter stuff.
Yes.
So how did geofilter get into you're banding trees, right? So if you're thinking of expanding and you're looking for opportunity, you sound like a serial entrepreneur to me. You're looking for opportunity all the time, right? So you're thinking about it. You're banding trees and you're out in nature doing that gig. Because I assume you like being outside and doing this stuff, right?
Yeah, I liked, I don't get much sun on my skin now, so I'm a little pasty because I'm in the office all day. But I love being outside. Amazing. Basically, tree banding in the fall is like a weight loss program because you walk for 15 hours a day for 15 days. You probably lose 10 to 15 pounds. Like it's incredible weight loss program.
Oh yeah, don't doubt it.
For anyone listening, go band trees.
Go band trees. And you're out in the sun and it's great. But I began a business after I made that decision to not go into medicine. And that business was self-funded and it was needing some money. So my quick thought was I'm going to go make some of these Snapchat filters. There's a brand new feature on Snapchat. Anyone can make them. I thought I could sell some to some people, make some money, and then get back to my other business. And I never got back to the other business. It's kind of the end result of that.
Well, this exploded.
Company. Yeah, it
like,
moved.
were you the only guys were you the only person doing this geofilter?
We were the first, and then we just became. It's the definition of right time, right place, and we just became the biggest producer of Snapchat filters, which was completely unintended. And within 12 months, I had 85 employees. And I was 21 years old, trying to manage 85 people.
Did you have like a manager and everything too?
No.
Just you?
Just me.
Oh, wow.
And to put this on a timeline, how old were you?
And you're living at home. I remember this story too, because you're living at home.
Yes.
And mom's making you lunch. She's brown bagging it every day. It's a beautiful life.
It's amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I love that part of the story.
Yeah. Yeah. I would, my mom would make the lunch. It'd be in the fridge. I would pick it up and I'd go to my office and there'd be 85 people that I had to manage. And I was naive of how difficult it is to manage people. I thought you put them in a room, obviously you pay them, you treat them well, and everything's rainbows and unicorns. Man, that is not the case. So culture and HR, holy smokes, I saw things I never thought I would see.
We had a few HR people on our podcast, so we know a bit about it.
You understand the scope of what this is?
Well, they didn't really tell us behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, but we know a bit what HR is.
Like you're talking, what are these guys doing?
Yeah.
Clipping their toenails in front of you? Like, what are they doing?
I've seen people sleeping on their desk.
Ooh,
that's not that
a
bad.
classic.
That's people do that in school too.
Well, that's more the slave driver quality of the leadership, right?
Yeah, we
don't go home till you're done.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of a slap in the face of not having the right people in the right spots. So in an organization, if you have the CEO and the C-suite, you have directors and VPs and managers and these different layers. And we don't have the right people in the right spots, things like that happen. So that's not so much a mistake on the individual itself. It's more of a mistake on my side of not having the right people in the right spot.
But you also didn't have experience, right?
I was 21.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's amazing.
I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And you know what I've discovered too? Like, you're making a good point. You discovered that so early. I discovered it like in my 40s. Life is about supply chain.
Yeah.
Pure, simple supply chain. Not just product, people supply chain. Are the right people in the right place at the right time to do the right work at the right price at the right quality?
Yeah.
I've run out of rights there. But I've got a designation in supply chain, and it opened up my brain to how the world works and how operations is everything. Do you feel that?
100%. The reason Pluto and parallel what we're building now will be successful is because of the people. That's plain and simple. And I always say you could have all the money in the world and you could have all the right opportunities, but if you don't have the right people and the right team, it's useless. So
Yes.
I am
Who'll support, and you trust them.
Oh,
And they trust you.
Trust
and
is a big thing.
That's enormous.
It's huge.
Enormous. My brother owned a bar, the Club St. B.
Oh,
And
really?
oh yeah. And
How do you know all these
he
places,
built-
Andre?
he built such a great team. And then I worked with him in another hotel. Like, we had a bit of a consortium. It was a disaster because we couldn't find the right people. But he built his own team in his own bar where he didn't have to be there for 2 days.
Yeah.
And things would just run perfectly. The trust was there. Like, it was, when you find that, it's gold. And
yeah.
as Hamlet, I think it was,
Here comes a reference again.
I think it was Hamlet who said to Horatio, or the other way around, grapple him to your soul with a hoop of steel when you find a great friend.
I think that's more
Or someone you can trust.
kidnapping. But
No, it's a metaphor. Oh my, there's so much to teach you too. Okay. And
Apparently not. Andre
need to take
apparently knows all
Shakespeare.
these
But
things.
good for you, Andre. You took a little Shakespeare at St. Paul's. You had to.
We had to.
Did you
Yeah.
like Shakespeare?
Yeah, I think there's some good lessons in there. And there's some things that maybe don't necessarily
Where art
mesh
thou?
in today's culture as much. But yeah, there's some good stuff. And I think the mindset for me has definitely shifted when so in the morning when people come to the office and I see them coming through that front door, my mindset now is more of, I'm fortunate and it's a privilege to have these people coming to the office each day, which is a different mindset than a lot of people running businesses where you sort of expect them to show up and they have to do their work because you've told them. And so I've shifted my mindset of I'm very grateful that these people come to the office every day and show up and
Even though you're paying them.
even though I'm paying them.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
So how do you demonstrate that to them?
Yeah. So it's quite simple. You just have to treat them like people.
Yeah.
That's as simple as it is. And it's funny that that's the bar.
People with ideas.
People with ideas, you have to.
People are creative.
They're very creative. You have to give them the ability for them to have freedom, responsibility, have input. You have to give them the bandwidth for them to do what they do best.
Yeah, I think that's what happens a lot in businesses is like the CEOs and everything will belittle people
Yes.
a lot. So then they don't want to come in and they don't want to work.
Precisely. And if you can flip that mindset and you flip that culture, I always say in 4.5 years, no one's left the company. And it's because of culture, and the way that I lead from the top is definitely has shifted. And I'm there. I always say I'm there to serve them. It's not the other way around.
How can I help you do
How can I
this?
help? And sometimes some of the guys and girls, like, they'll jump up and they'll try to empty the trash can. And man, I won't let them. I'll jump up and I'll say, no. First of all, I'm paying you too much money to empty the trash can. No. You go code. I've hired you
I'm
to
always
code.
emptying the trash can.
And I will take out the trash. And that's like the mindset at Pluto is I'm there as the leader to serve the rest of the team.
That's
So
a great
Pluto, tell us
mindset.
what Pluto is.
Yeah.
What is Pluto?
A planet.
Pluto's a planet. Well, I think it was demoted, eh?
It was.
It is.
That was such
I think
a
there's a
sad
big
day.
debate, though. I think there's a big debate. Some people, there's a whole community out there who wants to bring Pluto back.
Yeah.
Me.
Me too.
CJ's a Pluto fan.
I cried that day when they demoted it.
I don't know what that says about you. Anyway, there's a lot of things going on in this world we could be crying about. Okay, Pluto, I'm not so worried about. Anyway, tell us.
Yeah.
Pluto, what is it?
Pluto is a artificial intelligence company, and we're building a product named Parallel. And Parallel, the very literal definition of Parallel, and what we're doing is it's a social commerce platform that shows you people just like yourself based on body dimensions, and shows you what they're wearing, where they bought the item, what size they bought. And so there's a few things we're doing with this platform. The first thing is when you typically go online to buy a new shirt, you always go down to the review section and you're looking for that comment of that person that's almost explaining you, like, I'm 5'10", 170 pounds. I bought a medium and it fit me well. And so that's the natural consumer behavior that you do to buy clothing online because you don't know what size to buy. And so our platform, what we do is you can go on, you can browse everyone on the site, but you can actually then toggle your feed and you can see people just like yourself based on the body size, because we have this body technology that captures your chest and waist and all the measurements. And so this allows you then to, we sort of explained it where typical social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat, they show you aspirational people with unattainable style because it's photoshopped and it's all twisted.
Yes.
Or it's super expensive.
It's really expensive. And so what we've done is we're showing you aspirational people, but it's attainable because these are literally the people with the exact same like chest size as you.
Yeah.
And then we actually show you, you want that shirt? They bought it at this company for this price. They bought this size. And so we've shifted that very, I guess, tainted model of Instagram.
So the partnerships must be off the chart for this.
Brands love it. Brands absolutely
because you're connecting to all the big brands.
Yes. So we have over 4,000 brand partners.
Oh my God.
The site is actually one of the fastest growing websites in the world at the moment. And we have users across that span about 212 countries and territories in the world. So it's very international. We have people of all sizes, all backgrounds, all cultural differences. It's amazing to see.
But this is the amazing part about you and your entrepreneurial verve, because you're spotting a small niche in that marketplace. Because I'll buy something online and just think, okay, if I have to exchange it, I will, right? You're saying you don't have to do that. You can get it exactly right to your specifications. You can customize this to make it work with average folks out there who are just like you. I think that's brilliant. What do you guys think of that?
No, it's really something else I've never ever.
Well, think about it, because talk about, is there a big problem for me? I never acknowledge there's a problem when I buy online. I just buy it. If it doesn't work, I exchange it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a pain in the butt, right? You found a small niche problem where people go, yeah. It's just like, for me, I'll give you a crazy example. It's just like the BlackBerry to the Apple. They both worked very well, and the original one worked great. Just like buying it online works fine. But Apple found a different way to say, we're going to use this a little differently. We'll change the culture of how you behave. I think that makes a difference. You're changing behavior. When you change behavior, you're onto something.
We've actually, there's a comment that came through we have a live chat system, and there's this one person that came through and they said, essentially, we've empowered them to feel good about their body and what they wear.
I can see that because
they found someone like themselves.
Yeah, like plus sizes and everything.
Yes.
You rarely see clothes or models like that anywhere, depending where you go. Especially, I think for men, I can't say I've seen any plus sizes models for men. It's usually women.
Yes, you are right. So yeah, that's the mission, and we hope to.
So you're putting full time into this effort right now, right? This sounds enormous.
Yeah, every second of every day.
Now, are there other things on the back burner? Not yet.
No, my
do you have any things on the
asked
whiteboard? I talked to an entrepreneur, an old friend of mine who does. He's a serial type too, and he's got things on a whiteboard.
Every time you say serial, I think you're gonna say serial killer.
Okay. Well, I don't know what that says about you, CJ.
It's a bit ominous.
Okay, sounds a little odd. Anyway, on his whiteboard in his main office, he's got the big projects he's working on, full of for example, the parallel piece. He's got this other whiteboard where he keeps these little things that are in the back of his mind. Do you have some of those too?
There has to be.
So it's one of the I guess it's both amazing and a downside for entrepreneurs. Like I have a billion ideas in my head, and what I've learned over the years is you have to focus and you have to do one. And so whenever I decide to build a company and to put my time and effort into it, I always have to ask this question of, do I want to spend the next 10 years of my life doing this problem? Because there's a billion other things I could be doing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to select one. And if the answer to that is no, then it's probably not the right thing for me to be doing. But that's always kind of the time frame. And I've had people say, hey, I want to start a company. I have this idea. I want to do this and that. And my first thing I will ask is, do you want to spend the next 10 years of your life doing that? And the answer is typically, no, don't do the business.
Because that's a lot of commitment,
It's
no
a
matter
lot.
what it is. Even if you're really like motivated to do it and everything, to think 10 years in advance.
And the reason you use 10 years is, so a lot of businesses don't even make it that long. Like you either get, you start, you fail, you start, you get acquired, you start, you IPO. Those are kind of the cycles. But 10 years, as you sort of mentioned, is such a long time that in year 2, when it gets really, really hard and like something's not working and it's terrible, if you don't have that mindset, I'm going to make it through to the 10-year mark, you're going to actually stop at year 2. So that's kind of
Yes.
always the perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's sage. That's smart. I'm interested now because of your mindset. I don't think people think like you. Is it fair to say your buddies were hanging out with you and you were dragging them along and they were doing things and they couldn't quite understand this? Why don't we go see if we can find some liquor in your dad's cabinet? They're looking to do stuff like that, and you're working on databases and tree banding to begin. And the other pieces you're working on, which is awesome. Congrats to this. This is amazing. What would you say to the average kid in a grade 11 class right now, who may not have your verve in this area? What would you just say to the average student sitting there wondering, what am I going to do?
You should try to find what you enjoy. And that's such a cop-out because what you enjoy may not make any money. Like you may enjoy gaming, and unless you're a top 1% gamer in the world, you're not going to make any money. But what I think is kind of secondary to that is there may be jobs out there, especially when you're in grade 11, that you don't even know are jobs. And I'll give you a really good example. So one of my employees, he runs our TikTok account. He's an Asper student. He's in business. And about 4 months ago, I told him, hey, Jonah, you're gonna have to build our TikTok account. And he's never done this before. He has, he's been able to manage to build one of the largest, he has 350,000 followers. He gets more views a day on his account than like the major news networks in the US. And he has found out that he's actually a TikTok guru, and he never even knew this. And it was until I told him, hey, Jonah, make the account, just like start making videos. This is the idea. This is the concept. Let's try this out. And he's just embraced it. And
So do you think you have a good eye for people then if you picked him and he just randomly really started enjoying it?
Yeah, so I've hired over 300 people over my year or over the last 10 years. And you definitely start to see patterns and trends in people. And you start to say, and there's a lot of times I hire someone and they want to join for this job or this position. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I think you actually are going to fit better in here. And so quite often people will join my team and they'll start in one spot, and then I try to get them to try a ton of things in the company, different techs. Like if you're a full stack tech, maybe try some machine learning, try some front end, some back end development. And so I want to give you within my organization this like wide breadth of opportunity, because you may come in as a full stack developer and realize, wow, I love machine learning because I get a taste of that with the machine learning team. And actually, I want to go into machine learning. So even within our team, I've layered the people I hire. I have the seniors, I have the intermediates, and I have the juniors. And there's a reason for that. I purposefully hire junior people in positions to match up with intermediates and seniors for them to learn. And so I've actually structured my organization to have these different levels of knowledge.
And that's a very smart thing to do.
It definitely builds lasting companies, and most importantly, it builds the people. So yeah, it's definitely we are a business, and we have to generate business and revenue and all this sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, the people are my people, and I want to grow them and evolve.
And you want to put them in spaces where they feel successful. And that's important. Hey, so, I mean, you hired a TikTok guy. Now, I'm thinking, what's the changing face of careers out there right now? Where do you see opportunities for students that are beyond the traditional stuff? Like the TikTok one sounds amazing to me. Where do you see opportunities for students?
Yeah, so there's a lot happening on the tech front. Obviously, everyone talks about these days NFTs and marketplaces and crypto and all that sort of stuff. So there's definitely opportunities in there. But I believe that there's a lot of companies that are, or there's a lot of positions opening up now. So for instance, Lululemon. So Lululemon has a TikTok account. They have about 300,000 followers. So Jonah has more followers than Lululemon, who's a multi-billion-dollar company. And so there's these opportunities where if you're very good at TikTok, maybe you go to a brand like Lululemon and you say, hey, what you're doing right now, the strategy sucks. We got to change it up and we got to do something else.
I don't know if they'll hire you if you say their strategy sucks.
So Jonah's become a social influencer.
Yeah.
In the end, right? Like this is what you've turned him into.
He kind of hates it because he never wanted to be like an influencer.
But this is where jobs are going. Like,
this is where it's going.
And I'm telling you, in schools, sometimes there's teachers who will poo-paw this stuff when they don't get that these are legitimate jobs that are emerging and legitimate clusters of jobs that are emerging that are helping students connect to their skill sets in some of these areas.
And you could get paid quite a bit for some of those jobs, which people would be consider them like simple jobs or not important.
Jonah always says, I can't believe this is my job. The fact that I pay him to wake up in the morning and make TikToks all day.
Yeah.
He actually can't believe that that's his job. He does he kills it. He does an incredible job at it. But yeah, 5 years ago, that wasn't even a position at a company. And I think there's also a misconception with tech companies that they're just tech roles. They're just developers. That's not the case. There's marketing and PR.
You need accountants. You need supply chain
everything.
Folks. You need it all. Like there's where, in fact, you're expanding the range of those possibilities.
Yes.
You need lots of creatives, lots of full stack engineers. You have the depth and breadth of every profession in your company, don't you?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Plus more.
That's amazing. Hey, you know what? We have to move on a little bit.
We do.
I know. And we're going to do one of our, Chris, this is amazing, but we're not done yet. We do have something called the Quick Cues. The Quick Cues. And it's going to be presented by CJ.
Yep.
So have at it.
All right, quick cues is just a bunch of quick questions that you answer. Don't think about it. First thing that comes to mind, just say it out loud. We'll start off with dog or cat person.
Dog.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Yes.
Favorite potato chip flavor?
All dressed.
What do you put on your toast?
Butter.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Messy or tidy desk?
Tidy.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
What's expired in your fridge?
Nothing.
Oh, Starbucks or Tim's?
If I'm feeling bougie, Starbucks.
Favorite social media?
Parallel.
What sport do you play?
Basketball and running.
Outdoors or indoors person?
By the nature of my business, indoors now.
Cold or warm milk?
Cold.
Favorite genre of music?
Probably hip hop and rap.
Toilet paper over or under?
Definitely under.
Morning or night?
Night.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah, no.
Greatest fear?
Running out of time.
Favorite podcast?
Careerland.
That is the
correct answer.
People are getting this right. This is tremendous. We always sit with bated breath. Will they say it? They're going to say something like Smartless or
Joe Rogan.
Deep Straight Radio or Joe Rogan.
I think it's because they do their research.
Yeah.
Good questions.
They were good, and again, this is a crackerjack little team here. So they're doing great things. They love these guys are the cat's meow. They love my old expressions.
You got a bunch of old.
They're old. I have old expressions. I'm Humphrey Bogart. I can do all kinds. Anyway, listen, Chris, this was so much fun. You are such a talented, gifted energetic, and you're a generous person to come here. Chris is here live in the studio. He's not hooked up to anything. And to commemorate it, we put a plant in the middle of the table, an artificial plant, albeit, but it's a plant. We never do that, Chris.
Thank you.
So
this is fun.
Only for you.
Yeah, only for you. So we want to make sure you take the mug with you.
Yes,
There's
I
a
would love
mug
to.
with water.
Well,
He's half
with
drunk.
some.
It has the Louis Riel School Division.
It's got this, our logo on it, but we also have the sweatshirt.
Yes.
Adventures in Careerland. And now it may be the wrong size because it's a large.
Oh, perfect.
And it looks like you may. It looks like you work out, so you might need a little more. Anyway,
Just a little compliment
if it's
there.
not fitting, I'll get you another one. I had to order more because students listen to our podcast, and when they listen to it and they call me, and they explain, what have you listened to? What is it about? What are you learning?
They get
I drop off one of these for them. So now you are a member of our tribe.
Thank you.
You're a member of Careerland Nation.
Careerland Nation. I like that.
No.
So it's very good. Anyway, Chris, I can't tell you how much we appreciate having you here. This has been enlightening. Winnipeg is fortunate to have a person like you in our space, in our town, being so generous with your time, hiring so many people. This is amazing. You're a mini little Google happening back there. And it's been our pleasure to have a conversation with you and just to learn more about your mind. Like, this is cool. I think kids are going to listen to this, or young people are going to listen to this and think, I think a little bit like this. There's possibility for me. And that's what this whole podcast is about. It's about helping people find their truth. And you're on that path. You're still on it, you figure?
Oh, yeah.
Always, eh?
Oh, always.
That's
yeah,
good.
absolutely.
Anyway.
Thank you for having me. This has been fantastic. Always happy to chat.
Yeah, and your story is a compelling one. So thank you to producers, and thank you to listeners. And that's another edition of Adventures in Careerland.